Thank you all for joining us on this special celebration event. Next, we would like to have a photo opportunity for all elected officials, community organization leaders, all Flushing Library staff members. Please come out on the stage. We're going to have a photo opportunity here. We're going to take a photo together. Next, Amy from Foundation. Mr. Alan Ma, Mr. Sidney Lee. Lizzie, want to come up? Flushing Library friends, please come out on the stage. Mr. Jimmy Meng, the Learn Foundation. Uncle Yang. Ada, the performers, please come up on the stage. Miss Caroline Whiting, Addie Abrams, Ruth, Donna, Thank you very much. And next we have the multicultural performance event in the auditorium. So you can stay and enjoy the performance.
Stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the hope of the brave?
Flushing Library Security Supervisor, Mr. Hazy Green. Good afternoon. My name is Yang Zhang. I'm the director of Flushing Library. Welcome to Flushing Library. Welcome, friends, community members, community organization leaders, elected officials, Congresswoman Grace Meng, Assemblyman Wang Kim, Representative of Senator Stavisky Ming-Wen Yang, Representative of New York City Mayor's Office, Community Affairs Unit, Director Tommy Lin, Deputy Assistant, Member of Assembly Assistant, Speaker Felix Otis, former Borough President, President of Flushing Valence Point, Corona LDC, Claire Schumann, President and CEO of Queens Library, Dennis Walker. Thank you for joining us on the celebration of the 20th anniversary of Flushing Library's new building. On June 20, this building was open to the public. It has been 20 years and we have a lot to celebrate. In the past 20 years, this library has served 32 million users. This year, 1.7 million people visit the library. We provide 2,600 programs and 130,000 people attend those programs. We circulate over 1 million books, magazines, and DVDs. This is not only a library, it's also an educational institution, a cultural center, and a social service station. Flushing Library is a very important center in the community. The reason we can achieve this is not only because of the dedication of library staff over the years, it's also because the support from all of you. Without the funding, the library will not be able to provide programs and service. Without users, the library will only be an empty building. So thank you very much. In the past 6 months, we have been working hard on preparing for this special celebration event. During the process, we received tremendous support from the community, from the following organizations and the individuals. Congresswoman Meng's office, Councilman Ku's office, Queens Library President and CEO Dennis Walker, Chief Librarian and Senior Vice President Nick Biron, Queens Library Foundation, the Love Foundation, Alan Mong, Sidney Lee, Charlie Tang, Ada Banam, New Star Dance Studio, Saints International Academy of Performing Arts, Uncle Yo's Chorus, Flushing Library Friends. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you for being part of our history. Now please join me in welcoming the President and CEO of Queens Library, Dennis Walker.
Thank you, Yang. Can we give Yang a big round of applause? Yang, we think the world of you. You have done an outstanding job, but let me also introduce our former directors as well, because they are here and you have a continuous chain of service to the community. Ruth Herzberg. Ruth, can you please stand and let us give you a round of applause? Ruth was here from 1990 to 2005. Do I have the years correct? And then following Ruth, we have Donna Siama. Donna, please stand. We need Donna. Donna has been here from 2005 until just recently, and that's when Yang took over. So both to Ruth and Donna, we thank you for your years of service. You have provided a tremendous benefit to the entire Flushing community. And I just wanted to add one little note, and we mentioned it before in different forums. We want to say it again today, that the library will be open until 9 p.m. So we're staying open longer tonight to serve the public and to commemorate the anniversary. So until 9 o'clock. As I said to Yang, I'm looking forward to seeing their census numbers today, because if you saw the program earlier with the line of children and families snaking around the entire library, and today and all the programs we have, we want to make sure we're open serving the public as well. It is a pleasure to be here this afternoon to celebrate our 20th anniversary. This library is amazing. You heard the figures that Yang read out. When you take a look at 32 million people, you take a look at 1 year alone, 1.7 million people. Obviously, this library, if not the largest volume library in the country, is one of the largest libraries in serving the public at large. And any of you who are regular customers here, you know that when you look at the number of people who come through our doors. And we're not just any old-fashioned type of library. How many libraries can actually say that they have the head of their security force come up and sing the national anthem? Only the Flushing Library can do that, and the Queens Public Library can say that. How many folks in libraries can actually say that we have the type of support that we always receive from our elected officials? Only the Queens Public Library and the Flushing Public Library can say that by having our great Congresswoman, Grace Meng, here. We think the world of you. You are always so supportive, and we thank you very much. How many can say we have our great Assembly member always here supporting us? And Assembly member Kim, we thank you for your service to the Flushing Public Library. And even though he's not here today, our council member Peter Ku has always been a big supporter. And even though she's not here, you will see proclamations from both the council member and our great borough president, Melinda Katz, who always is there supporting the Queens Public Library. And we thank them also very much. And then earlier today, we had our great state senator here, Toby Stavisky. She had to go to, wait for it, she had to run from here and go to Rego Park to help celebrate 100th birthday of one of her constituents. So someone who has a 100th birthday obviously trumps 20th anniversary. When you add the numbers up, 100 years old, 20th anniversary, I think that qualifies. But she was here earlier and gave us a proclamation as well. Millions and millions of people have come through our doors since it opened. It is the 4th Flushing branch to occupy this triangular space at the intersection of Casino Boulevard since the 1800s. And even though this is not in my notes, I have my vivid memory when I was in high school. I would come up to Flushing to get the SAT tutorial prep program right around the corner, and then come over here to the Flushing Library. And so even in my high school years, many years ago, I was here originally being one of the celebrants of the busiest library in the country. And as Yang said, with all the people who visit our library, it makes us the most busiest, vibrant library, I think, in the country. It's the anchor of the Flushing community. And for those who did not know, for the first time, we, the Flushing Library, under Yang's leadership, participated in the Lunar New Year Parade. And we were out in strong fashion on that very, very cold day. And I remember wearing my Flushing Library hat and Queens Library hat that day because it was so cold. But we were proud to march in the Flushing community, celebrating the community and celebrating our great library. And that's what Queens Library is about. Celebrating our communities throughout the borough of Queens. Our 63 libraries in all communities, a mile to a mile and a half from any resident who lives in the borough of Queens. Whether people are learning English or getting a type of program service, we're here to do that. Transforming lives, helping people realize their dreams through literacy and lifelong learning and opportunities. That's what happens here every day of the week. Which brings me to our keynote speaker. We're blessed to have the support of our elected officials, but more importantly, we're blessed to have people who are not just here as an elected person, but here to really be a part of the community because they are the community. They represent the community. They advocate on behalf of the community. They support our community. And our keynote speaker is our great Congresswoman, Grace Meng. She's a fierce advocate for her constituents. She wants them to succeed. She wants them to realize their dreams and fight hard for them in Congress. Her goals for those she serves is to align so well with the goals of the Queens Library. That is why we are delighted she accepted our invitation to be the keynote speaker today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome our great Congresswoman, Grace Meng. Grace, Congresswoman, the microphone is yours. Thank you very much.
How about another round of applause for Dennis Walcott? We at Queens Library are really proud to have such a tremendous leader in Dennis, and it's been amazing working with Dennis and Yang and Nick and the entire staff here at Flushing Library. I'm so proud to be here with all of you today. I spend much of my time, at least on the weekdays, in Washington, D.C., but whenever I come back, but especially this week, it's wonderful to come home and to see so many good friends and community leaders here today. I especially want to give someone a shout out, someone who needs no introduction, and that's our former borough president, Claire Shulman. Claire is someone who, from a long time ago, had a clear vision for Flushing. She advocated for Flushing when Flushing wasn't as cool to advocate for. It's because of Claire's work that we are here today celebrating in this beautiful library. It's because of Claire's vision that not too far away, we will soon have wheelchair accessibility at our Flushing LIR Railroad Station. Olive likes that idea. So thank you, Claire, for all that you've done. And it's not just about advocating for projects or infrastructure, but these are ways for vehicles to bring our community closer together, emotionally, educationally, and physically. This library has been the heart of our community in so many ways. It is where I studied for my law school admissions test. It was one of the few quieter places in Flushing. It is where, when I was waiting for my parents to pick me up, they would say, go to the library, read a book or two, and wait for us there. But in all seriousness, it's really helped advance so many opportunities for people in our community. A way to open doors for people regardless of their economic and social background. It is where veterans come to look for jobs when they come home from serving our country and protecting our democracy. It's where new immigrants come to study for exams and to learn English and to make friends. It's where so many of our children come, our youth and our future leaders, where they come and they learn about other cultures and where they're able to have a quiet place to better themselves. And it's a place where senior citizens come and learn about new technology and ways to bring them closer to their families who might be in other parts of the state or the country. And so it's such an honor for me to be here today. Public libraries are a tremendous asset and jewel in our communities. I'm proud to be on the House Appropriations Committee, and we are working on legislation to strengthen trust funds around the country so that we can have better resources for our public libraries. And did you know, this is something that I learned when I was Googling about libraries, there are actually more public libraries in this country than there are Starbucks. Can you believe that? We didn't think there was anything more than the number of Starbucks in our country, but there is, and that's such a testament to what a gem our local libraries are. And we're especially, I represent many parts of Queens, so I can't say that Flushing Library is my favorite, but I will say that I probably spend the most time here at the Flushing Library, but don't tell the other parts of my district. But I really just wanted to be here to congratulate all of you. Thank you to everyone who helps advocate for the library, who participates in programming. All of us, colleagues in government and community leaders, participate in many events here at the library. And it's the one sort of neutral place where people feel like they come and they belong, regardless of their economic background, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of what they do in life. They feel like they are at home here. And that resource is really invaluable to us here in Flushing and in Queens. So I'm proud to be here with all of you. Let's keep Flushing Library what it is. Let's make it even better as the years go by. And I look forward to celebrating another 10, 20 years with you in the near future. Congratulations.
Thank you, Congresswoman. We really appreciate your support. And just picking up on a note that you mentioned, we will continue to work on improving Flushing Library as well. We have a couple of design projects in place that we'll be launching, and so we're going to be adding another elevator to the library, and so we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a very complex, difficult project, but it's a project that will better serve our public. In addition to that, when you talked about you were Googling, one of the things that I think is extremely important for people to know, in a Pew Research study, there are two most trusted institutions that people mention. One is the military, and the other one is the library. And the library is the most trusted institution according to Pew Research because of everything that the Congresswoman talked about. So I'm on the go a lot. I'm around visiting our libraries throughout the borough and going to other boroughs as well. But one of the places I go to on a somewhat frequent basis is the 6th borough. Do people know where the 6th borough is located? 6th borough is Albany, as far as I'm concerned. Albany is a frequent stop for me because Albany provides support to our library. And we could not ask for a better advocate than our assembly member. When I go up to Albany, I always look forward to seeing our assembly member here because he is a fierce advocate on behalf of not just the Flushing Public Library, but the Queen Public Library, and that's our assembly member, Ron Kim. Assembly member, the microphone is yours.
Dennis, one more time, please. We're so happy to have him back in Queens. He's a local Queens guy. You know, we lost him to the city of New York a couple of times, but we're so happy to have him back. A tremendous advocate, just like how he runs his marathons. You know, he's always running from all over the place to help our Queens Library and all the libraries in Queens. Also, I want to just give a very wonderful shout out to my Congresswoman, Grace Meg. She's, as a vice chair of DNC, she travels around the entire country, and especially now when there's so much negativity and hatred around the country, especially when we have children being divided every single day, and there are thousands of children spread around this country. She was at the borderline trying to meet with the families, meet with the officials. Just this week, she was up in Yonkers. Was it Yonkers, trying to meet with the divided families? And I think that's something that resonates with all of us here in Flushing. You know, this is a country, this is a place of immigrants. It doesn't matter what your background is, where you're from. Our compassion and our ability to empathize with others is our strength. And Congresswoman Grace Meg has been a tremendous advocate. So we picked a wonderful keynote for today's event. Today, you know, I had to convince my 4-year-old or 3.5-year-old Olive to leave with me. My wife is home with my other daughter, and she's also 6 months pregnant or 7 months pregnant, expecting our third one. So I had to bargain with her. I was like, oh, well, we're gonna go outside. It's like, Daddy, it's so hot. I don't want to leave today. I gotta take. All right, we're going to the library. I was like, okay, let's go to the library. I mean, that's just my daughter, but I think we know that there's so many kids in our district. When we say, hey, we're going to the library, let's go. You know, they're up and ready to get going. And that's what this place is about, you know, for so many of our families. It's a place at a time when things are so competitive. When we go to our classrooms, we're constantly being taught to the test, and it's so cutthroat at every single step of education. Where do kids go to find imagination? Where do kids go to really be creative and really learn with purpose? It's places like these libraries where they can connect the dots and really find purpose behind their learning. And that's why this place is so important. And Flushing Library, as we all know, is the busiest library in the entire country. And I'm doing my part to provide as much money. We're giving millions to expand the library's capital projects. It's still kind of held up a little bit up in Albany, but we'll make sure that we'll release that money so we can continue to expand. But again, happy 20th year, Ms. Claire Schulman, all the advocates. I'm so happy to see you all today. And let's stay here until 9 p.m. because I think it's free air conditioning, right? All right. Thank you all. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Assembly Member. We appreciate your support and your advocacy, and we look forward to seeing that money, by all means. So how quietly I said that, I didn't say it too loudly, just nice and easy. But when we talk about money, we gotta remember history. And I'm a big believer in history, I'm a big believer in respect. And when we talk about this building, there's a direct line that goes to our next speaker. Because without our next speaker, this building would not be here. And I want to be very conscious of that because to me, she is a great woman who has been a great leader and continues to be a great leader, who believed in libraries when a lot of people really didn't believe in libraries. And she didn't just believe in libraries, but she invested in libraries, not just here in Flushing, but throughout the borough of Queens. And I gotta tell you this quick story. I was telling the Congresswoman earlier. For those who know how crazy I am, I do a lot of running and all that. And one year I was running the marathon, and I was going through the borough of Queens, and I'm just in a zone running, and then all of a sudden I hear someone yell out, "Go Dennis! Go Dennis!" And who was standing on the side but then our then former borough president, Claire Shulman. And Claire was just out on the street, hanging out, cheering on runners, and in all seriousness, when I heard Claire say that, it gave me a new round of energy to continue on. And I never said that to you publicly, Claire. And I want to say thank you because you were great. And she is great. And she invested and had a belief and a dream. And so our next speaker is a woman I think the world of, who I have the utmost respect for, and that's Borough President Claire Shulman. Claire, I'll come to you.
He knows how old I am. I can't walk up the steps. Well, I could if I tried. Dennis is a great guy. He really has taken this library to new heights. Right, Dennis? I know him forever, and every job he's ever had, he's done with great, wonderful talent, energy, passion, and I am so happy that he is here marshaling this library system, because let me tell you, even though the invitation tells you it was 35 million, it was 40 million. I can tell you because it came out of our budget. And we are so lucky in the borough of Queens because every good institution that we have built has had especially good directors. And it really makes the tax money that we spend for you run very well. And Dennis is one of the wonderful directors that we have in the borough. And listen, you know Grace Mang? I wanted her to be borough president. And so she decided to go to Washington. And she has been doing an incredibly good job in Washington. And you know how difficult it is to operate in Washington today. But Grace is managing to see her way through and doing whatever she can to help her constituents and the rest of us in the country. So we are very proud of you, Grace, really, because you are the future. And we expect you to do well. And Ron Kim, I don't really know Ron very well, but he's got this cutest kid here. And she will get him lots of votes. And maybe she will get him to give us lots of money. But this is a marvelous institution. It makes me cry in a way because 20 years ago, we moved a little punky library off this site, moved it into a storefront, and started to build what we believe now is one of the best libraries in the country. It's more than a library, it is the community center of this wonderful neighborhood. And indeed, it is a marvelous tribute to all the people that live here that have made this library what it is today. We have provided money, but the rest of you have really provided this library how it works, how it's used. It is an incredible facility, something that I have been connected with it. I'm so proud of all the people that have worked so hard to make it what it is today. And it is a very special place. And I understand that it has the largest circulation of any branch library in the United States of America. How about that? And you know, I have an office here in Flushing, and every time I drive by and see everybody waiting to get in the morning, I say, thank God. And so I wish everyone here the best of luck, that this library will grow more and prosper, and the people that support it will prosper as well. And the community, which is a marvelous community, will continue to grow and make every one of us proud. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There we go. So, thanks to the hard work of all the elected officials who were here, we get a lot of support for this particular library, and we're very proud of that. But I gotta tell you something. We have a surprise guest here. In a little while, we'll have some proclamations issued, but I want to talk about our surprise guest because we have someone here, like all of you, who believes strongly in this library. But in addition to the belief in this library, also stepped forward to do something very special with this library to ensure its continued success. And his name is Mr. Jung-Ming Look, the chairman of the Iris and Jung-Ming Look Foundation. And Congresswoman May played a very key role in introducing him to the Queens Library. And we thank you very much for that introduction and facilitating the relationship between our foundation and the library. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Jung-Ming Look to the microphone. Welcome out. Yep, I'll bring it down.
It's a real honor to be here. I introduce myself. I'm a new immigrant. I came from Shanghai to New York. That was 1979. That time, Flushing was a village. So it's, you never can, no one can imagine that it will develop, become a commercial center in the country. So I spent 30 years in New York before we moved to Florida. That was 2010, because as we are getting older, so the winter is a little too harsh for us. So during these 30 years, I worked in Sloan Kettering Institute and NYU. In 1989, I invented medicine called the Remicade. So this was it's a great success because since it's approved by the FDA in the year 2000, during the 18 years, there already been about 3 million patients with rheumatoid arthritis, with psoriasis, Crohn's disease, and other conditions benefit from this medicine. So become a huge success. In about 2006, we used a part of the royalty and create a foundation called Iris and Jung-Ming Foundation. This is a charitable foundation, and during these 12 years, we mainly support the medical research in the hospitals, but also we do some support for the social programs. So after this, although we already in Florida, spend most time over there, but every time we come back, we often come to Flushing. We come here to go to Chinese restaurant. We go to Chinese grocery shopping. We came to visit Chinese friends. And also we came to visit the Queens Library. Because this is a wonderful library. Believe me, I have been in many places in my life. But this is by all means, it's the biggest library I ever seen around the world. So this library deserves some support. So I happen to have the opportunity to get involved in some program so it's our honor to be able to do something for the library.
Thank you very much for your support. And Yang, you want to join us? And if you cannot see this, let me just be very clear about this. As a result of this great foundation, the Queens Public Library at Flushing, as a result of the foundation, the Iris and Jung-Ming Look Foundation has presented us with a check for $135,000. Can we give them a big round of applause?
Can I have Congress James come up on the stage? and all available Flushing Library staff members, please come out on the stage. Also, Mr. Alan Meng, please come out on the stage. Thank you.
Can we give them another big round of applause? Big round of applause. We really appreciate this, and again, on behalf of all of us, we say thank you very much. Now, Yang asked the staff to come up on stage, but I want to give a special shout out to all of our great staff here at the Flushing Library, because they do a marvelous job. Because when you think about this. We've been talking about the number of people who come through our doors. We've been talking about the number of programs that take place here on a regular basis. We talk about today alone being open until 9 p.m. Open 7 days a week. You can only do that with great staff. And the people who are here, they work so hard, but beyond working hard, they really care for our customers. So can we give them a big, loud thank you and round of applause for all of their hard work. Now, can I ask Minwin to come up on stage to present several proclamations for us, and then we will have a proc also for Toby too.
I don't need to speak.
Okay.
This is the proclamation from our Councilman Peter Koop.
Thank you very much. Come over here.
So this is a resolution from my boss, State Senator Toby Stavinsky. So this resolution is from the State Senate of New York to the library.
Jimmy?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tommy Lin. I'm here on behalf of Mayor Bill de Blasio. So then, on behalf of Mayor, we also have a solution for the Queens Library of Flushing.
And also, we have a proclamation from the borough president as well. If not here, then we just want to show that as well. Okay. So before we go on, I want to do one more picture taking because I think it's important. I'm a big believer in history. If Ruth and Donna can come up on stage. Ruth, Donna, come on up. And Yang. So when you talk about the continuity of this library and the history of this library, we have to make sure we honor and say thank you to our predecessors as well. So Ruth and Donna, you both worked extremely hard over the years to get us to this particular point. We want to say thank you to you as well, and making sure that we give you the true recognition you deserve. Hold on one second. So now, you should get a quick sense, and then we're going to wrap up the program and start the next phase, of some of the things that we do throughout the library. Because as I indicated, we have so many libraries throughout the borough, and I was saying this to the Congresswoman earlier, at Central, probably not right now, but a little while ago, we have a TV set up on the main floor. And we have people who are gathering there watching the World Cup. So it's just not your grandfather and grandmother's library. We do things differently here at Queens. And we have a variety of programs that meet the variety of needs of the individuals who are here. Now, Paul, I want to say thank you, our assistant manager, to join me here as well to introduce our special slideshow about the history of Flushing Library. And then we'll go on from there. So Paul, the microphone is yours.
I'd rather take this side of the stage. It has been 20 years, this new library open to the public. So many good things happened in the past 20 years. And so many library staff and friends contributed to its cause. We have the opportunity to review the past in a short video, from Free Flushing Library of 1850s to this new building, thanks to our talented librarian and the customer service specialists. They collect hundreds of photos and put everything together. Special thanks also give to Nelson Rue, Central Library Director, and Judith Struyman, Queens Library's archive, and her staff. We also appreciate former director of Flushing Library, Ruth Herzberg, a living legend, always my mentor, and Ramona Randon, she's in Florida, cannot come in today, and Donna Siambo. They make a record and will be included in this video. The year the Flushing Library opened, I became a student of the library school in Rutgers University. Then I was an intern in this Flushing Library 19 years ago. Beginning my library career, it's my honor to work in Flushing Library past 19 years under the leadership of 4 library directors and with many of our staff. I thank the elected official and the coming leader From them, I received more than a dozen awards and certificates. All of them are for our wonderful Flushing Library. Please allow me to present you a showcase of Flushing Library history. Thank you.
Library. It's hard to believe that 20 years have passed since we first opened the doors of the library on June 20th, 1998. On that day, 16,000 people came through the front doors to see what this beautiful new library offered. Over the years, millions of people have visited this library to use the resources and the wonderful collection that are on the shelves. This is actually the fourth building on this particular piece of land. The first Flushing Library was a church built in the late 1800s. This building here was replaced by the current building. This building was built in 1957. I would like to thank and congratulate the Flushing staff on a job well done through the years. Thank you.
Retired Flushing Library Manager 2008. Congratulations, Flushing, on your 20th anniversary at this spectacular award-winning building. I can recall when I was assigned to Flushing in 1988 to the old Flushing building, the dungeon, as it was called in those days. At that time, I was a bit apprehensive. Flushing was #1 in circulation, the most diverse, the busiest, the most hectic branch of the system, and I loved it. My passion for Flushing never waned. My most proud moment in my career at Queens Library was when I was promoted to Flushing Library Manager. For 160 years, Flushing Library has been the epicenter, the pinnacle of education, learning, and community service. Keep up the good work. Que viva la Biblioteca de Flushing. Forever, I will be grateful. I am part of your history.
and I served as the director at the Queens Library at Flushing from 2009 to 2017. This library is an integral part of Flushing's heritage and history. Working here was an incredible journey for me. Congratulations everyone at Flushing for this milestone anniversary.
Thank you, Paul. That was fantastic, and thank you to all who participated in that. Now I'd like to introduce Ada Vernon, who will read a special poem by Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and Honey Lou, and Emily Yao, who will accompany this reading with a dance performance. Vernon, Lou, and Yao will now perform. Welcome.
Back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks his narrow cage can seldom see his forest rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, and so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill. And his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on the dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird's wings are clipped, and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird
bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on a distant hill. For the cage bird sings of freedom. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, and so he opens his throat to sing. The cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on a distant hill. For the cage bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the train runs soft through the sign trees and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But the cage bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on a distant hill. For the cage bird sings of freedom.
Wasn't that lovely? Really lovely. Let's give them another big round of applause. That was truly outstanding. So, many of you probably know this, but just to reinforce it with some of you, that we've been very lucky at the Queens Public Library in that we have a number of groups called the Friends of Queens Library. And we thank them because they do so much for us to support us in so many ways, and volunteers who just acted on behalf of our library. And the Friends of Flushing Library is an especially active group, and for their work I would like to present a certificate of appreciation to Mrs. Jacqueline Colson, who is here to accept this acknowledgement on their behalf. Jacqueline? Okay, I can't see her. Thank you, Jacqueline said just a big thank you because she is truly a hard worker, and we thank her for all of her excellent work. Now we'd like to bring to the microphone with a special presentation Charlie Tang, Charlie is here to donate a beautiful work of art. Charlie. Finally, I'd like to introduce you to two remarkable individuals, a mother and her daughter, who are here to speak from their hearts about what the Flushing Library means to them. Please welcome Mei Ling and Stephanie Chan. Mei Ling and Stephanie.
Are you going to sit down? Oh, okay, I'm going inside.
Hi everyone, thank you to all of you for being part of our celebration. I'm going to share my experience here at the Flushing Library. My name is Mei Ling. I moved from Venezuela to the United States in 2003. So at that time, my English language skill wasn't good. As I was setting up my life in Flushing, I tried to see if I can find a job nearby. So I looked at bakery. The requirements to know how to write and speak in Chinese and English. I'm Asian, but I can't write in Chinese. I couldn't write and speak in English, so I did not get the job. During that time, I always was coming to the Flushing Library. It was so big. One day, I saw flyers in the library. They were offering free English classes in the Adult Learning Center. So I came from the registrations. It was first come, first served at that time. There was a big line outside, like almost 2 blocks from Main Street to Sanford Avenue. I was accepted, and I was so excited. I was studying for almost a year. One day, my uncle's friend told me that the Adult Learning Center was looking for a person to hire who can speak different languages. I started to work in the center. I was helping out a lot of customers who were coming to ask information for English classes, and they were surprised it's free.
Thank you.
I worked there about 2 years. One day, my manager, Miss Anna, told me the library had a brand new position open as a customer service specialist. She told me to apply. When I got the job, they asked me where I wanted to work. So I chose Flushing Library location because I wanted to give it back to my community. When I started to work as a specialist, I didn't have previous trainings in computers. I challenged myself to build my tech skills. After a year in the position, I saw that we need to provide computer classes in different languages. So I proposed to my supervisor the idea to give computer classes in Spanish. I was teaching the basic skills of computer, and I created my own tutorials. After I finished teaching a class, I feel like I need to create more classes like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Publisher to meet the needs of my students. I remember one day I had a senior student from Colombia who came to my class to learn how to create an email account. He was enjoying how much he learned on my class. One day after the class, he gave me a card for the gratitude. And he was crying because he said in his youngest year in his country, he never knows how to use a computer. But in my class, he learned a lot. When I opened the card, I saw inside a surprise was $20. So I decided to donate it to the Queen's Library because the gratitude belongs to the Queen's Library. It was so great. I always received positive feedback. After a while, I also started giving computer classes in Cantonese. One time, one of my colleagues asked me why don't I become a Queen's Library system-wide trainer to train all the computer specialists. First, I didn't want to do it because it would divert my timing from giving classes in Flushing. Later, I thought about it and then I said to myself, why not? In that case, I can help others to become good trainers to teach people to learn computers. So I joined the training team. Thank you for all of you. I will pass my experience to my daughter to tell her. I will pass it.
Okay, hello. My name is Stephanie and I am Mayling's daughter. I'll talk about my experiences and how Flushing Library has helped me from elementary school to college. So I was born here in New York City, but for the first 5 years of my life, I actually lived in Venezuela. There I picked up Spanish, and I only spoke Spanish. I attended first grade here in Flushing in one of the public schools. Literally only spoke Spanish, did not know any English at all. And at the time, my mom was working at the library, and she would always bring books for me to read and everything just to practice my English speaking skills. So that's how I learned English. Through that kind of stimulated my passion to read books. So after school, I'd go into the library. I picked up books from the Flat Stanley series, Clifford, anything I could get my hands on, anything that was fiction related, I was reading it. But my mom would always push me to read non-fiction books. I honestly hated non-fiction at the time. I just wasn't, every time I read one line, I fell asleep, just knocked me right out, would not read it. But of course I matured, I wanted to learn more things, and by that time I was interested in Egyptian things, like pyramids of Giza, pharaohs. I would come after school to the library just to pick up a book and read something new. I've learned something about the French Revolution, the guillotine, and everything like that. And then, so that was junior high school. Then came college, prepping for college and everything, and I was borrowing stacks and stacks of SAT books, ACT books, scholarship books and everything like that. So I was just reading that. And then, so with that, Flushing Library has provided me with a lot of resources to just stimulate my passion for reading, prepping me for college, and it also has given me opportunities to give back to the community, especially the library and Flushing itself. So I volunteered in 8th grade in the summer reading program where I taught and looked over just small kindergarteners. I helped them cut a piece of paper, do arts and crafts, and then right before I left for college, I also volunteered for the teens program here, where I just provided aid for the librarian. So that's what I did. That's all I did for Flushing Library, and I'm glad that I had that experience. Without it, I wouldn't be where I am, and I'll tell you guys what I'm currently doing, and what's up with my life. I am a rising junior in Boston University studying human physiology. Yeah, snaps to be you. So yeah, I'm studying human physiology. I am also on the pre-med track, so #future doctor. Yes. And yeah, I'd like to thank the Flushing Library for everything that they have done for me and for this community. I'm glad that I received all the resources and all the help. And that's all I have. Congrats to the 20th anniversary of Flushing Library, and thank you guys. Thank you guys.
And our thanks to you, and even though I'm not up to speed on all social media, #thank you, all right? So, we're drawing to the end. We've had a robust program with a lot of activities, and I want to say thank you to all of our participants very much, and to Mei-Ling and Stephanie, thank you for your words. You have been truly inspirational as well. And now I'd like to call Yang back to the microphone. And just so you know, as Yang is coming up the steps, it's not that we have just this going on. I'm literally leaving here to head over to Queens College because the Queens Public Library is also sponsoring what we call the Battle of the Bands. And so we will have bands from across the borough and beyond, high schoolers and younger, competing for a competition at Queens College. So I'll be greeting folks at Queens College on behalf of Queens Public Library. So my thanks to all of you. And Yang, microphone is yours. Thank you for everything, Yang, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Dennis.